So I made it to the Hilton Warner Center in Woodland Hills, California. So I didn't come in in fact, I don't even think I had a title, although I guess I still worked the kind of the same shift as I did at the Sheraton. So it was kind of a night manager shift from, I'm gonna say like 1 to midnight or something like that. One thing I quickly realized when I first got the position, when I first got to the hotel, because you have to remember the company I worked for, Stanford Hotels, was taking over that hotel. So when they put people in there, they look at you as if you are a spy. Now, as I look back on my experience, I can definitely see why they thought I was a spy. In fact, I'm gonna go one step further, and as I'm regurgitating, remembering this information, I'm remembering information that I'm regurgitating it. I do recall a conversation I had with Mr. Ron Berger. Now, Ron Berger was my former general manager at the Sheraton, and he had worked for Stanford Hotels for quite some time. So he was instrumental in me getting this position, along with Mr. Louis, who was the owner. And I remember Ron Berger saying that, hey, the owner is looking for you to kind of, make sure things are going well, make sure things are consistent, and make sure that you report things that become inconsistent. Now, my shift was similar to, my shift as a night manager. So I believe I worked from like, let's just say one in the afternoon to about midnight. So I was able to see what was going on during the night shift. And during the day, there was a lady who was actually ultimately in charge of the hotel because there was no general manager. So they were in the process of hiring a general manager. So they had like a temporary GM there who really didn't do anything, but they had Miss Jeanette Orr, who was like, I don't know, she must have been Mr. Louis' like right hand person because I would take my thing. So she made sure that I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. And what I was part of the thing I was doing was monitoring what was going on. So yeah, I guess I was kind of a spy. So my job was to monitor the operation at night and then report to her during the day. So I remember a couple incidents that happened with managers. The one incident that comes to mind was with a food and beverage director. Okay. Now he had the tendency of, he would get off work. Let's say he got off work at 5 o'clock. He would go out to a restaurant bar, eat, drink, be merry, and then come back to the hotel, which to this date, I don't understand why people do this. If you're going to go out, don't come back to your place of business. If you're going to go out and start drinking or whatever, don't come back because a lot of that stuff spills back into your operation. And a lot of things can go wrong. And a lot of those things that go wrong, that go on are not right. Right. So sometimes it's just best just to take your ass home. So fast forward to this one particular evening where the food and beverage director comes back in and he's buying people drinks at the bar. Now I know this is not right, but it's his operation. And I still don't know at this point if this is acceptable behavior. To me, it's not acceptable, but I need to make sure it's not acceptable to Miss Jeanette Orr, okay? Because she has the ultimate power. I can have conversations with people, which I did have with him, like saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't come back to work here once you've been out. You should make it a point just to go home kind of thing. But he obviously ignored what I had to say and he continued to come in. So I remember the next morning or the next time I saw Miss Orr, remember I reported to her anything that happened that was inconsistent with what I thought, should be happening. So I remember asking her, and I wanted to see her reaction to what I said. I said, hey, is it okay for managers or directors to come back on property after they leave? She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, the food and beverage director, he goes out and he comes back and he's, buying people drinks. He's behind the bar. He's doing this thing. And she goes, the food and beverage director, he's coming back after hours? It's like, yeah, he's coming back after hours. And she goes, no, that is not acceptable. And can you pull? And she just like went into investigation mode. She said, can you pull, the checks that he signed and this and that or whatever. Because on the micros, everything's time stamped. Everything has a time and, what he ordered or what he was buying and how he signed for him, right? Because he wasn't paying for them. He was, putting them to advertising and promotion, A&P. He was A&P in the checks. You guys know what I'm talking about. So he was doing that. So that situation was quickly dealt with, and the food and beverage director was terminated. No questions asked other than, is this you? Did you sign this? Were you here at 10 o'clock at night? Were you, buying people drinks, all that kind of stuff? And basically he couldn't deny it. And so he was terminated. And from that point, if people didn't think I was a spy, they knew at that point that, well, he's probably a spy now. Although that was not the intention, but my job is to make sure I'm reporting things that are going on. And I would have done the same thing at the Sheraton, right? As a night manager. Those are things that you do. You sometimes, you're not always going to be the popular person as a manager, okay? But you have to do your job. Whatever your job is there to do, that's what you do. And, I take my job serious. And it's unfortunate that, someone on the other end that was abusing their power, had to take the fall for that. But, there's no skin off my back because I was just doing what I needed to do.